And Louise, the judges are ready for you to begin your dressage test. You're being signaled into the ring now.
Jonathan, as you talked about, this horse has not had any starts, but her most recent work was on July 9th at Belterra Park, so it's only been a little over 3 months since her last workout at a racetrack, so you'd have to think that Louise hasn't really had a lot of time with her.
That's fascinating. So pretty quickly off of racing training.
This is a very popular song choice at the makeover. We hear this at least once every year.
And she chose her own music, right?
Yep. And this is the only component of the dressage discipline that you do get to pick your own music. The first two segments in the preliminaries, there's no music attached to it.
One of the things I like about the dressage competition at the makeover is that the prelims take place at Rolex Stadium, where the Kentucky 3-day event has its big grand finale. How cool is it for the junior and amateur riders, and even some of the professionals? I mean, the opportunity to compete at Rolex.
I haven't gotten a chance to ride in it yet, but I was excited to coach in it this week. And again, for a horse so short off the track, to be able to do that nice, flat, even walk is quite impressive. And if this horse is so quick off the track, this is one of those ones, we saw this yesterday also, that has a build. It takes a long time to build muscle and mass and structure, so I bet this is pretty close to what this horse looked like on the track too.
Yeah, just a beautiful foundation with that big, beautiful round hip and a shoulder that matches it to build the sort of muscle that she'll eventually need to move up to the tougher maneuvers in dressage.
Yes, lovely rhythm. Even with no bobbles here and there, you can see that foundation with that lovely rhythm. And this horse just naturally sets back and is able to sit up and set back. What do you need?
Are you going to be ringing a bell or whistle or anything for them to start their routine?
When we get the okay from you, we're just telling them it's time for them to go in. We don't have a bell or a whistle here, and we've been starting the timing when they come in and salute. At the salute is when we've been starting the time.
The judges all start keeping time.
Okay, so I'll send them in. They'll salute to start the music, and that's when their time will be good, correct?
That's what we did yesterday. If someone wants to tell us otherwise, we're happy to adjust, but we're just going off of how it went yesterday.
We'll do it that way. That's fine. Thank you.
Thanks.
The judges agree. Yes, that is when the time starts and the music starts.
So, Ashley, the first part of this competition for the dressage riders, it's a set test. We have English dressage, but we also have Western dressage as part of the Thoroughbred Makeover. Then there's a demonstration ride. What are some of the philosophies behind whether you focus on the foundation or whether you try and showcase some more intricate movements?
So with this being a green horse competition, our catchphrase for the weekend, the most important thing is you show something that your horse can do well. You will score higher having a simple, cohesive demo or freestyle that shows rhythm and balance and connection with your horse than showing higher movements that show more difficulty but without that cohesiveness. Now, if you can do both, then you're going to score really well. So if you can get some leg yield, some lengthening, some half passes, some canter serpentines. We've seen those this weekend, and in the finale yesterday, those horses had a year extra, so I was happy to see some of those movements starting to be added in, but it is absolutely not a requirement. The goal is to show what your horse does well, to show
30 seconds.
Relaxation, connection, rhythm, and what they are being judged on: rhythm, relaxation, connection, impulsive, straightness, and level of development.
Just phenomenal how far this horse has come, having been at the track just
10 seconds.
90 days ago or so. It just goes to show what a nice partnership they have.
And that is time for Louise Atkins and Forgetful Me. Young 4-year-old chestnut filly, and on the broadcast, Donna, you mentioned that this horse, even though she didn't race, was actually on the racetrack pretty recently.
Yeah, her last workout was on July 9th at Belterra Park of this year, so this rider's only had this horse for, we know, not longer than 3 months or so. And so to show this sort of nice partnership and the suppleness that this horse had, and I can guarantee you that horse didn't do any of that stuff at the track. So the fact that it's learned to do it, other than the trot, but not usually even so smooth, to learn how to do all that and put it together in a short period of time is impressive.
A great start to the dressage finale, sponsored by Turning for Home. And next to go, our first rider in the finale this weekend, competing in Western tack in the last few years, dressage here at the Thoroughbred Makeover, encompassing both English and Western dressage. This is number 2181, My Dad Louie, ridden by Jacqueline Shellhace. And Jacqueline, the judges are ready for you now. You're being signaled into the ring.
My Dad Louie is a Louisiana bred who made all of his 21 starts in Louisiana at all the various tracks they had down there. Never raced on turf, but raced on fast tracks, and actually it does look like raced on turf a couple of times. So it has tried all the surfaces: muddy, firm, fast, good, and now trying dressage.
How about this for a combination? Competing in dressage, making the finals in dressage. This is a barrel racer, too.
That's impressive.
And this flows right into, obviously, this horse is in Western tack. This is the Western dressage. But they're still being judged on the same criteria: that rhythm, relaxation, connection, impulsion, straightness, and level of development. And that can be shown in different ways. And this is a recognized form of competition, is the Western dressage. You can see, showing all the movements, you're going to see the walk, trot, canters, the circles, the halts. All of those components are in there, but it's presented in a slightly different package, both with the tack and a little bit of the carriage.
Ashley, Western dressage is relatively new to me. Can you talk to me about why it's been implemented as a discipline? Is it just about the rider and their preference for a Western saddle, or is it more than that?
I believe so. I've been around it a fair bit. I have not competed it myself. I know some people that do it, but it's a way to bring more inclusiveness in. There's a lot of Western riders, and in my opinion, and many opinions, or many people out there will agree, dressage is the foundation of almost anything functional you're going to do with a sport horse. You need everything that I just read. You can, all those criteria, you can score any horse that's going to be functional out in the ring, out in the field. You're going to need all of those things. So dressage is an amazing foundation for any good horse under saddle. So this is a way to be able to include the Western disciplines and acknowledge that we're all doing the same things, just packaging it a little bit differently.
And with that in mind, what the U.S. Equestrian Federation says about dressage and the growth of Western dressage, they want it to bring out a horse's usefulness, rideability, willingness, safety, pure gaits, lightness, calmness, and steadiness. And those are themes that you can apply to any discipline. And that's why, like you said, Ashley, a good foundation in dressage actually makes you a better jumper, because isn't show jumping just dressage in between the jumps?
Well, I have heard people say if you're going and doing a show jumping round, there's about 8 seconds where you're not flat working your horse. And if you think about all the time you're in there, what you need is that flat foundation. You need to be, we talked about it in show jumpers, hunters, you need to be able to set them on their hind end. You need to ask them to use your core. And all of that is, dressage is just specifically focusing on that foundation. And you can go up through the levels and you get a little fancier with some higher movements, but it all starts with that same foundation.
And this horse also doing barrel racing. We see them come into the arena hot as a firecracker for the barrel racing. And so it certainly teaches this horse that it's always not just blow and go in the arena.
Even in this competition, the barrel racers do have to demonstrate rideability and patterns with their horses to show that they can do more than just run quick and turn tight.
Reading about Western dressage, any breed of horse, pony, or mule is allowed to compete, and even gaited horses. The gaited horses, though, are supposed to use their intermediate gait instead of the trot, or in the case of Western dressage, the jog. 30 seconds.
And to put you on the spot, Donna, you said this is your first time seeing Western dressage. What are your initial impressions comparing and contrasting
10
with
seconds.
the dressage riders, the English dressage riders we've been seeing?
Well, to be honest, my preference is for a Western saddle. So,
And that's
believe it or not,
time.
even after having been a jockey all those
For
years,
Jacqueline Chalice and my dad.
sort of like riding in a recliner chair. And so I love to see them do this under a Western saddle, and I thought it was beautiful.
This week, this horse, my dad Louis, not only competed in dressage, but also competed in barrel racing. Quite a fascinating versatility for a horse to be a dressage horse and a barrel horse as well.
Okay. No Pennsylvania HUPA award. Got it.
The judges are ready for the next competitor, Jasmine Slater and Wildwood Fury. Jasmine, you're being signaled in by the judges into the arena. Jasmine coming from Tallahassee, Florida, aboard this young 4-year-old dark bay gelding Wildwood Fury, who had 2 starts on the track and will be in the finals in 2 disciplines, dressage and later on for freestyle. And Jasmine, the judges are ready for you to enter the ring. So this pair will be back for freestyle, and they'll be doing the same music. I remember their routine. It's quite an interesting mix of music that they've put together.
This is quite an impressive looking 4-year-old. They don't all come out looking like this.
No, this 4-year-old looks like it has the development of a much older horse. I would say even 6.
Just from the competition standpoint, this horse has already been in this arena competing in freestyle, so I don't think the environment, how it's affected other horses, will affect this one.
And what's interesting, I noted this in the Hunters also, the 2021 horses seem to fare better. The horses that competed outside and then came into the arena seem to fare better than the 2020 horses, which I guess might be surprising to a lot of people. You would think, well, these are greener, they've had less exposure, maybe they were going to have a more difficult time in here. Obviously, we saw a lot more 4-year-olds today than we did yesterday. I have a interesting take on this, and some people may or may not agree with it, but I found when the horses come straight off the track, they've seen so much on the track, and they just take it all in as new. After I found with these thoroughbreds, after about 8-10 months up to a year and a half, they start expecting a certain routine. So if you have a horse that for a year and a half you've been working on dressage with, they're going to be less accepting of something outside of that dressage discipline. Whereas when they first come off the track, absolutely everything is new. So these horses are still within that first year of training, and so they just see everything as new. And so it seems a little backwards logic, but I found that sometimes they're a bit more accepting of a new environment than a green horse that's had more than a year.
Yeah, it makes sense. They're just eager to try it, and they're always eager to please, and then maybe after a while they get a little bored with it.
It's not even bored with it. Maybe some do, but I think they have expectations. I have a very young, opinionated 5-year-old mare, and she's an exceptional competitor. But when I first got her, I called my friend who I got her from, and was like, "She's a little too quiet for me. I need a little fire." And she's like, "Just wait, it'll be there." I got her and put her on the buckle and trotted and cantered her around, and I can't do that with her now. She has expectations. She knows what we're going out there to do. She's very sensitive to everything. So I think a lot of these horses are still developing expectations of what happens when they go to shows.
That's a great explanation. And Jasmine is also still probably developing her expectations as she's a working student at Southern Oaks Equestrian in Tallahassee, Florida. And this horse is owned by, I guess, that school, Southern Oaks Equestrian. I shouldn't say school, that farm, by Marcia Hartford Sapp.
And she might be a working student, but she's really giving a professional ride in here. This horse and pair are really, really lovely and working great together.
And for a 4-year-old horse, the gelding has held some counter canners and has also gotten some changes across the diagonal and seems really responsive to Jasmine.
And as long as they're developing, they can keep that Wildwood Fury's opinions in check, I think this horse is just going to soar straight up through. Another one of those horses we were talking about that just has this perfect structure.
Wildwood Fury and Jasmine Slater. And they will be back later on to compete in the freestyle finale. Another dual discipline finalist will be the next horse into the arena. And in fact, a horse that is a discipline winner already. Number 2083 is Fleet Stepper, ridden by Hillary Irwin. The eventing winners this morning, and now back for their dressage finale. Hillary Irwin from Florida. This is a young 4-year-old Bay filly. Competed in eventing at beginner novice at Stableview in September and had a 24.5 for their dressage test. Fleet Stepper made 3 starts on the track in New York and New Jersey in 2020 and retired August of last year. And now the judges are ready. Hillary Irwin being signaled into the ring aboard Fleet Stepper. We're both eventers, Ashley, and for a first event to throw down a 24.5.
Incredibly impressive, and I could already see the makings of it when they came in for their eventing finale, and I was really excited to see this and just how this little filly moves. Donna, you said you're familiar with the Kentucky 5-star and how that some of these thoroughbreds look like they'd fit right in, and this is one that I just the way it looks and moves and holds itself, it would not stand out in a bad way. At the Kentucky 5-star, it just looks like it's perfectly made and balanced and relaxed, and everything that's put together just looks like that perfect eventing dressage package.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people fall in love with those big scopy horses, but sometimes those big scopy horses get more tired and can get a little heavy over that long course at the Land Rover Kentucky 3-day event, and this horse certainly has the makings of a future competitor for the Land Rover.
Yes, back to back saw 2 young bay mare horses competing in dressage, and the one that just finished really truly looked like just a dressage horse, and to me this one just looks like an eventer, but as Jonathan was saying, to put down a 24 at your first event means there's something special in there.
I think the last filly that we saw could have easily have been mistaken for a colt, and this one maybe not as likely. Looks more refined, looks more like a filly. Now, you do have colts or geldings that look like this also, and that's not bad, but just a bit more refined.
Hillary's no stranger to the Kentucky Horse Park, was here a little over a month ago to compete in the American Eventing Championships, competing in the Training Horse Championships with her Irish sport horse, Fernhill Chili Martini, but is also taking some thoroughbreds up the ranks. Her thoroughbred Providence Road competed most recently at Modified at Stableview. I mean, you can't be a bad dressage horse with the name Fleet Stepper.
That is fair, and what a nice stepper she is. The freedom is just really lovely. You can see how she rounds over the back and comes out over the neck, and when she relaxes into that, it just gives such a freedom of shoulder. There's some leg yields, and just so effortless. If you weren't paying attention, you might not have noticed that horse is going laterally versus just going straight down the line. Oh.
Honestly, you just do not expect for the dressage to be this good at this level with this horse not being off the track for that long, and you know, really they're just starting out, and so for this horse to be this good this early hopefully bodes well for her career.
It's so impressive to see, but it's what's so exciting, why I love this event so much, is we continuously are in awe of these young green horses coming out and just blowing us away in all of the different disciplines. It's so great to see not only the versatility but the trainability in such a short time. These are the 2021 horses. These are new too. They have not had any more than 10 months in this discipline, and to see how tuned in they are to that discipline is really cool.
And that's a movement that we just saw that you don't usually see until the upper level tests, the stop and back. I think this horse is going to be bored when he goes back showing it beginner novice, when she goes back showing it beginner novice or at novice.
And she really did it with just subtle contact on the bit and the reins. It wasn't, definitely wasn't forced.
Earlier, Donna, you had asked about having a young horse, if you take that into consideration when moving up your horses, and I gave you kind of a vague answer where you have to feel it out. And this is a young horse. Obviously, you don't want to push them past their physical capabilities, but as Jonathan was alluding to, I don't think this one is going to last too long in those lower levels. As it is, she won eventing at novice level at 4.
Ten seconds.
There's a nice lengthening there.
And that is time for Fleet Stepper and Hillary Irwin. Demonstrating some movements that you don't often see until some of the upper level tests aboard this precocious 4-year-old bay filly. Already a winner in eventing and coming back for the dressage finals here. Final horse and rider in the TCA covered arena for dressage number 2151 Cubo Cat, ridden by Allison O'Dwyer. Allison, the defending Thoroughbred Makeover champion for the class of 2019 with her horse Fifth Ace in dressage. new mom, also married to the race trainer Jerry O'Dwyer, and a great advocate and ambassador for off-the-track thoroughbreds. During the warm-up, already practicing some of the stop and backs, was practicing. What's a good warm-up strategy, Ashley, for those riders that are watching? I just kind of trot around nervously.
That is a very personal question, Jonathan.
Judges are now ready for you, Allison. Allison O'Dwyer and Cubo Cat being signaled into the dressage ring.
There's a number of different strategies you can take on your warm-up, but just joking, saying it's a personal question, but it really comes down to you knowing your horse and what your horse needs. There are some horses that just need that consistent, keep it moving, just trot, get your steady, try to find some relaxation before you go in. Some will walk and get relaxation that way. Some will do canter to halt transitions, and that's what relaxes their horse. So there is no standard of what to do in the warm-up. Generally on the lower levels, most of what you're going to see is people working on getting some consistency and relaxation in the trot, but it is in no way what has to be done.
Ashley, how much time do they spend before they come into the arena, in the back arena or in the warm-up arena, practicing these maneuvers? And again, does it depend on the horse?
100% depends on the horse, and sometimes it even depends on the horse on the day. Jonathan knows all about this with his opinionated chestnut mare. Sometimes she needs a good solid 40 minutes to warm up and needs to go do a gallop off in the distance and then try to get her loosened up. And sometimes we get out there early and we're like, well, shoot, she needed 5 minutes today. So that all, as you go along, you need to make that decision with your horse. It really is as much or as little as they can need. Definitely at least enough to get their muscles warm and loose, and you can get that in 5 to 8 minutes, and then everything after that is how long do you, sometimes it's also how long does the rider need to warm up emotionally and physically. She's jumping right into some lateral movements. You could see even, again, from the warm-up that this horse was going to come in and show off a little bit, and we were not just going to see some trot circles and some canter circles. Oh, lovely, lovely lengthening there. Nice light contact. Very willing horse.
Kubo Cat, a 5-year-old gelding who is a Louisiana bred, had 16 starts, and all of those starts were in Louisiana.
Gosh, he's old.
We've seen so many 4-year-olds, all of a sudden a 5-year-old seems old.
Yeah, I hope she'll be all right getting this later start to dressage.
Beautiful halt. A true professional can really bring out spectacular things in these young horses when they are started out properly.
And Allison is a professional rider from Maryland.
She's just a tiny bit more leg to get that nose to poke out some. That's the only thing they're missing, just a little bit more out, but really lovely, relaxed, nice, huge overstride.
So the judges don't like to see his head that low, like he's getting ready to graze?
You want the low, but you want, in the free walk, you want them low, but then their nose out. If you hold too much, and she was not holding a lot, but to get that stretch over the back through the neck, their head is going to come down. The more down, the better, but you want them stretching out.
I see.
Not tucking in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was absolutely spectacular.
I mean, but the fact that you can make that point a technical point for such a young horse. I mean, now we're watching these tests and we're kind of this has become more than a green horse competition as far as we're concerned, I feel like.
Very much so, as we're just watching a counter canter serpentine, which does not come in for a while. These are definitely higher level movements. Beautiful, simple change there. So she's mixing in higher, lower level, and everything is kind of coming in seamlessly, and just in such a lovely way. This horse is so relaxed and so in tune with the rider, and just with that nice light contact, free hand. Comes another counter canter, which again is very different from cantering on the wrong lead. This is what takes more core, more specified muscles to be able to hold that position and that angle while cantering on that off lead. Same thing. So now you see she's got a loose rein, she's got nice light. The horse is stretching down, but it's kind of got his nose tucked in a little bit.
Yeah, he carries his head like she's pulling on the reins, even though she wasn't.
Mm-hmm. And so that's why in his development, with a little bit more leg and drive through, he needs to learn. It's not that he's being restricted, but he has to learn.
30 seconds. Allison O'Dwyer and Cubo Cat. Cubo Cat, Louisiana bred and the Retired Racehorse Project, very grateful to the Louisiana Thoroughbred Breeders Association for recognizing the top Louisiana bred in the competition with a $5,000 cash prize. Before we recognize the top 10, we have some special awards to give out. Turning for Home has provided additional prizes to the top finishers in the dressage discipline. We have the Thoroughbred Charities of America Award for the horse acquired from a TCA accredited aftercare, and for dressage it goes to All Gussied Up, ridden by Alexia Backman. The Best Condition Award, sponsored by Nina Bonney, to Wildwood Fury and Jasmine Slater. And the top Western dressage horse to receive a belt buckle from the Western Thoroughbred goes to a competitor in this finale, My Dad Louie and Jacqueline Shelhace. The top team for dressage for the class of 2021, Baseline number 2023 and Team Baseline. The top junior was number 2210, Private Party and Hannah Manson. And the top amateur was Wildwood Fury and Jasmine Slater, number 2306. So now it's time to welcome back into the ring the top 10 finishers. Here are the results for dressage, sponsored by Turning for Home. Finishing in 10th place, number 2143, John Want Revenge and Alexandra Wickstrom. Ninth place, number 2304, Wicked Courage and Michelle Salt. Eighth place, number 2062, De Commissioner and Kaylee Beckers. In 7th place, number 2252, Spirit's Legacy and Sarah Davis. 6th place, number 2184, No Boundaries and Shannon Norris. Now to the top 5 that we saw here today. Finishing in 5th place, number 2181, My Dad Louie and Jacqueline Shelhace. In 4th place, number 2087, Forgetful Me and Louise Atkins. Third place, number 2306, Wildwood Fury and Jasmine Slater. Second place, number 2083, Fleet Stepper and Hillary Irwin. And the winner for dressage for the class of 2021 at the Retired Racehorse Project Mega Makeover, number 2151, Cubo Cat and Allison O'Dwyer. Their overall score, 172.09. The second makeover win in a row in dressage for Allison O'Dwyer. Congratulations to all the top finishers, and Allison, if you'd like, you can lead all of the competitors on a victory lap around the dressage ring. Thank you for a great week of competition. We also want to thank all of those who've sponsored the Fund a Need drive that you can get more information about on page 54 of the Thoroughbred Makeover program, helping put on this great event that we appreciate every year. Thank you to those who have sponsored the Fund a Need campaign, and more people are needed as well for Fund a Need. A very well-behaved group during the victory lap. Following dressage, there'll be another course change as the dressage ring will be removed and the indoor polo ring will be set up for polo, sponsored by the United States Polo Association.